a piece of me?
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Good morning, Vietnam! I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Love means never having to say you're sorry.
You do. You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
I am.
Happy Tuesday. Welcome, moviegoers. Welcome to episode 319. Welcome to Scary Movie, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Juan. I'm joined by the other host, Jay. What up, Jay?
Hey, how's it going out there in podcast land and YouTube and Facebook and Imawal Productions? What's up?
What up? Man, it feels like it's been forever since we talked. But welcome.
It's been about a couple weeks.
New episode, new movie to talk about. Ed's pick. He's been trying to do this movie for many years, and he's not here.
Is that right? It's like I'm picking the movie, but I'm skipping out.
Skipping out, man. But
what a dick.
Other things happen. Life happens. But hopefully me and Jay, hopefully me and you, sir, will do this justice. If you guys did not join us last week, if this is your first time joining us, welcome. We have a special show planned out for you. Jam-packed show, recent watches, some movie news, bringing movie news back. And then we'll have a full rundown of Scary Movie. So, like I said, if this is your first time joining us, guys, you can find us on the social media. We have giveaways and all other kinds of things. So go follow us at facebook.com/The Cine-Men Movie Podcast. Instagram is all one word / the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. X is at Cine-Men405, or you can email us at cinemen921@gmail.com. Last week, look back, we talked about Joker.
I was not here for that, and I'm going to sit there and say this right now. Acting and technically, movie looked good. Acting was pretty good. Movie was complete and utter shit.
Man,
there's my review. I didn't get to give it last week.
We all three liked it, man. It would have been a very fun conversation. But yeah, we all three enjoyed it. I think out of a 5, I gave it a 4, Zach gave it a 4, and Ed gave it a 3.5.
I would have given it a 2.
Man, but yeah, it was a fun conversation. Go back, listen to it. Joker, a folly adieu. So give it a shout.
Wherever you, a folly.
Wherever you listen to podcasts at. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, and Apple Podcasts by way of the Prescribed Films Network. So that's www.prescribedfilmsnetwork, hashtag the PFPN. We are on that network. So there's a bunch of other podcasts on that network you can stream and listen to, including Attack of the Killer podcast, The Movie Defenders, and a bunch of great other podcasts as well. So go check that out. That's www.prescribedfilmsnetwork.com. So before we get into some recent watches, Jay, we're bringing movie news back. That was your idea to bring back that segment. And I'm like, why not? I love segments. I love hanging out, talking to anybody about movies. So let's bring that segment back. How do you want to open it, sir? Do you want to talk about?
I'll just say, we'll just start here. They released another promo image for the James Gunn Superman movie. You could put the shitty copy up.
Are you there? Are you there? We lost Jay. So anyway, what he was trying to bring up and talk about is we were going to show the new James Gunn picture was released today. So that's what he was talking about. James Gunn released a new photo of his new Superman movie, and it looks like Superman and his dog, Crypto, I think is the dog's name. Um, so there's a shot of James Gunn photo right to the right, and then the left photo looks like a comic book strip of, where this is coming from. So anyway, I think, James Gunn is wanting to do his own version of Superman. He's wanting to do his own version of the DCU. So I think him releasing these small photos back and forth, I think is a good idea. And I'd like to hear everybody out there's idea and thoughts on this photo of Superman and Crypto. So I know a lot of people are already out there trashing it, saying the logo is trash. We want Henry Cavill. The logo looks generic. But you know what? I'm always a big believer of just let's see what plays out. I know a lot of people were complaining about the way Robert Pattinson looked and Robert Pattinson being Batman. And a lot of people were talking mess already about some of the James Gunn photos of Superman. But I'm always a fan of let's see what it looks like, But anyway,
I'm
Jay,
back now. I'm back now. I'm back. I didn't know my internet crashed. So
you're good. I was just explaining the photo to him.
Yeah, this is basically the comic art. This is what he was wanting. He was inspired by, and then this is the actual photo that he was going for. Look, this is how close to the comic books we're sticking. And there's a lot of characters in Superman just because of what I've seen them filming. Like Mr. Terrific's in it, Hawk Girl, Crypto the dog. There's Flag Senior, the guy from Suicide Squad. His dad's in it. Rick Flag. There we go. But no, I think it'll be real good. We'll just have to see because they said that the trailer was going to probably drop around December.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm always a fan of DC, and we had a whole episode on the past DCU, and if you want to go back listen to that was the Aquaman 2 episode that we did last year.
We actually loved that movie.
Yeah. We got a lot of feedback saying the conversation was way more entertaining than the movie, so we did something right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Some more news. Do what?
Let's talk about some box office numbers.
Well, I was going to give you this one final bit of news and then go into box office. Is that cool?
Yeah. Of course.
Ian McKellen stated that he is more than willing to join the new Lord of the Rings movie. It's called The Lord of the Rings: Hunt for Gollum, and he said he's willing to come back and play Gandalf. And so it's supposed to be a 2-part movie, and it's going to be directed by Andy Serkis.
Wow.
It takes place in between the Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Tower.
Interesting. What's your take on that? Are you down for anything Lord of the Rings? Are you there?
I'm here.
Are you? What's your take on that? Are you down for anything Lord of the Rings, or are you like, you know what, enough is enough?
No, for the simple fact is, I've read the books, and the original Lord of the Rings movie, the one that Peter Jackson did, excellent take on them. Granted, you can't get a full scene. You can't do the book justice, but he did the book justice. The Hobbit, on the other hand, it was still pretty good for what it was. But this Amazon show, Ring of Power, they went through it and changed so much of the lore. And they were like, well, we're just making it the way Tolkien wrote it. Like, no, you're not. You're adding shit in that no, you're fucking it up. Stop. So it's basically what a lot of Lord of the Rings people in the community call fan fiction.
Mm. What about I went and saw a movie a few weeks ago, and there was a trailer for like an animated Lord of the Rings movie. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't. Oh yeah, yes, the War of Rohirrim.
Yeah.
Yes, I completely forgot about that one. I'd probably see it. I'd probably definitely see it.
It looked really, really interesting. So,
and yeah, as far as some news, we'll have more news for everybody. This was just about an hour ago. I asked him, hey, We talk about some of the news on the show. Next time we'll be more thought out. We'll have more movie news to talk about. But there you go. There's a little bit of movie news for the people out there. Are you ready for the box office talk?
Let's talk some box office talk, man. I think this one's going to be interesting.
I'll start off by saying this. Last week, number one movie was Joker 2, and it made about $37 million all total, all weekend. And people were like confused of why that was, why it was that way. But, now we know why it was that way. A lot of people didn't want a musical for one. But now this week, though, you have Terrifier 3, which I'm sure most people out there don't even know what the fuck the Terrifier series is. I haven't seen it myself, but I know what the Terrifier series is. And it came in at number one with $18.9 million, completely blowing Joker 2 out of the water by 80%. One of the highest drops ever for any movie. We're not talking comic book movies. We're saying any movie. Go ahead.
Yeah, for any movie. I was surprised. I'm still surprised, man. I saw some issues with it, and I could see if he didn't address it being like a musical, or if he didn't address it, But I mean, everybody knew it was supposed to be a musical.
That was one of the first things I remember them saying it. After they cast Lady Gaga, they're like, "It's going to be a musical. It's going to be about these characters. It's going to be in their heads. There's going to be like big songs and dance numbers, and it's going to be because of their craziness." But I don't know. I think most people. But I've also read into some of these things that some of the people that watched it, they said that they wanted to make part 2 different because everybody looked up to the Joker in the original when they were like, "That's not the way it was supposed to be portrayed. You guys weren't supposed to think Arthur was cool, and so they did their thing there. And you talked to me about the ending. I was like, "Yeah, what of it?" I didn't even notice it the first time I watched it. I just watched him lay there on the floor dying. But now back to some box office news. We got, like I said, Terrifier 3. It made $18.9 million over the weekend. Wild Robot still holding on very well. It was number one a couple weeks ago. It's still holding on very well at $14 million for the weekend. Beetlejuice still holding strong. I think it's made like $300 million here in America.
That's insane.
Hold on, let me check that. It has made $277 million domestically and $145.2 million overseas, with a grand total of $422,353,146. And it was just released the 8th on Vudu and digital. No, it was just released on digital platforms on the 8th.
Yeah, of October. Yeah, that surprised me too. I'm like, since it's making so much money, I'm surprised they didn't give
it's number 3.
Yeah, I'm surprised
it's
they
the
didn't
number 3 movie.
Tom Cruise Top Gun treatment.
And then at number 4, like I said, it fell 80% down from $40 million a week before to $7 million grand total. Joker. That was, so far it is struggling domestically with $52 million, almost 53. It's cutting pretty close to that. Internationally, it's doing a little bit better with about $114 million and a grand total of $165 million. And so far, the budget was like $200 million.
Yeah.
And rounding out the top 5 is a movie called Piece by Piece. It is described as a vibrant journey through the life of Pharrell Williams, told through the lens of Lego animation. The guy that sings the song "Come On, Get Happy."
Yeah.
You know that song? That evidently they made a movie, and it made $4.5 million over the weekend.
Any surprises this weekend? And I'll probably ask this every week. Any surprises with this weekend as far as like who the number one is?
Yeah,
and
there it is.
And do you think the number one will stay the same even with Smile 2 coming out this weekend?
The Terrifier 3 thing, really, because it's always been low budget. I don't even know if they even made it in a theater. If they did, it was a very select few theaters for the first 2. But on this one, it was number 1. I didn't expect it to be number 1. A lot of people never expected it to be number 1.
Dude, I saw it Sunday night in a 21 plus seating area over the weekend at the theater. and it was like halfway full. There's a lot of people like it's got its cult following now.
So that's really cool. That, like I said, I haven't seen any of them. So, and as far as coming out next week, you got Smile 2 being the bigger hit, and that's it. Smile 2 is pretty much the biggest hit, and the rest of them are limited titles. So there's probably like 12 different movies releasing next week, and only Smile 2 is the wide release.
Yeah. And then the week after that, I think, is Venom 3.
I think so too. Yeah, I've never seen Venom 2.
Oof.
I've only seen the first Venom. I didn't mind it.
And I heard the Wild Robot is fantastic. So that's one that I still haven't seen yet. So.
My buddy Sam Stackhouse, he asked me if I've seen it while I was hanging out with him over the past week, and I was like, no. And he was like, dude, you got to see it. It's like, it reminds me so much of the Iron Giant. And then my next couple words kind of into the conversation about the Wild Robot, and I was like, well, I've never seen the Iron Giant. He was like, what? I was like, dude, I don't know. Yeah, see, you have movies that you haven't seen. I have ones that I haven't seen.
That's true. That's true. It's a 98 movie, so
I've heard nothing but good about it, though.
Yeah, it is pretty phenomenal. But yeah,
That's the box office report.
I like the box office news, man. I like talking about what made money, what needs to make money. It's also fun to go tell people, hey, go see these movies. Speaking of Terrifier 3, if you guys want to hear my full thoughts on Terrifier 3, I'm going to do an episode on it this Thursday with Friday the 14th podcast. So don't forget to check that out this Thursday, 8 p.m. So other than that, man, you want to get into some recent watches? You have anything that you want to recommend?
I've been watching this History Channel show about it's called Earth Uncovered or something like that. It's basically where this archaeologist goes around America. Well, he goes around the world, but his main focus is on America, and he tries to figure out where ancient civilizations lived at. Were there any other civilizations before the Indians that came over? You know, did the Spanish happen to come up here to the French? You know, it's one of those type of shows that he examines all kinds of different stuff like that. And, I'm sorry, I'm tongue-tied real quick. Viewers, listeners, I'm tongue-tied for a second. Hold on. I'm back. But he likes to go and dig up stuff. A lot of his stuff is, like, one of his cases is that the Chinese come to America, which, you know, a long time ago, and make a place in Wisconsin. That was one of the episodes. He went through all there. You know, he didn't fight shit, but, you know, I've been watching that. I've been finding him on YouTube, and for some reason, the YouTube History Channel has like 4 or 5 episodes, like a compilation, and it's like a 5.5, 6 hour video, and I'll just throw that on and just let it fucking play. And then I watched the only movie besides Scary Movie, which we'll get into here in a little bit, is The Jackpot. Have you heard of that one?
The Jackpot. I have not.
It's got Awkwafina. I'm not a big Awkwafina fan, but she was bearable in this one. She really was. And it's got John Cena in it. It's about it's set in the future where if you win the lottery, you have 24 hours to be killed, and whoever kills you claims your lottery. And so John Cena plays it's played it for action. It's an action comedy. So that is a pretty badass little premise that you could do something with, you know, sci-fi-ish and everything like that. But it's played for comedy and action. But John Cena plays a guy for hire that he'll protect you that full 24 hours and just make sure you survive.
Interesting. Is that new or?
Yeah. Let's see where. I watched it on a broken Fire Stick, so I can't tell you where the hell let's see. So would you go ahead and say what you've watched this week? And
it's a Amazon Prime Video. It's on Prime Video. But anyway, speaking of Terrifier 3, I wanted to I wanted to get all just disgusting, and I wanted all that gory stuff to hurry up and just come out. Not to say to get it over with. I do have to be in the mood to watch those kind of horror movies. So I wanted to just amp myself up for Terrifier 3. So I watched All Hallows Eve, which is like a prequel of, Art the Clown. And then I started the first Terrifier. I still need to finish that one and watch part 2. And then honestly, you know what? I just checked out Scary Movie today. So it's been a real slow week for me. I've only checked out those 3 movies. Saturday and Sunday watched a lot of college football and NFL. So movies have kind of not as been as many, but I have also had the desire to watch a lot of stuff lately. I don't know why. I just have not been in the mood to just sit down and focus on something, but that should change this week. I got a lot of stuff I want to get into, and a lot.
My biggest problem is I got like your problem behind you. You look at all those damn things sitting on your shelf. My whole thing is like, what do I want to watch? What am I in the mood for? And by the time you figure it out, it's like 2 hours have gone by, and you're like, shit, I could have watched the movie in that time.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
for real, man. That's true. And I get mad sometimes because I'm sitting there thinking, oh, I want to watch this, this, and this. And then, like you say, you pick it out. It's like 45 minutes have passed by.
I don't know if you're like this, but I'm like this whenever I pick up a movie and I'm like looking at the case, flipping it back and forth and shit like that. The movie will play in my head. If I've seen that movie before, and I was like, well, yeah, I love that scene. I love that scene. Okay, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do it. I love it. Yeah, there's a lot to like in this. Okay, we're doing it. Yep. Do you ever do that?
all the time, man. Yeah. So, but yeah, if you guys have anything out there you want to watch or that you have watched and you want to recommend to us, it could end up being an episode or it could be something that we're just hanging out talking about. So send us in some recent watches or anything that you recommend. Send it in.
We might be the Cine-Men movie podcast. So if you have a TV show, a mini series, anything that you think would be hell, even a video game that you think might be worth us checking out just because you love it, tell us. We're always looking for new things to see and do.
For real. But other than that, let's dig into with what we're talking about today. So we are talking about Scary Movie. Currently on IMDb, it has a 6.3, Rotten Tomatoes of 51%. The Metascore is 48%, and the Letterboxd has a 3.1 with a release date of July 7th, 2000. The budget was $19 million, and it grossed a little over $278 million at the box office. After a year after disposing of the body of a man they accidentally killed, a group of dumb teenagers are stalked by a bumbling serial killer. Starring Anna Faris, John Abrahams, Marlon Wayans, Carmen Electra. You also have Sean Wayans in there, Regina Hall, Elizabeth Shannon, and
Shannon Elizabeth.
Yeah, Shannon Elizabeth. What did
You
I say?
said Elizabeth Shannon.
I'm a little dyslexic today. And then written by pretty much all the Wayans and directed by Keenan Ivory. Yeah, Keenan Ivory Wayans helped direct it. So, man, where was the first time you saw this, and what was it like revisiting it for the podcast?
I'm old. If you guys haven't realized that by listening to this podcast, I'm pretty fucking old. So, I was 20 years old when it came out, and I seen it opening weekend in theaters with my cousin and his ex-wife. And my first time viewing it, it was fresh, it was new. I laughed my ass off because, one, my humor was pretty in line with whatever they were showing on screen. And, I liked the way they played off the certain scenes that they were playing off. They were parodying because up to this point, I had grown up on like the Airplane and Naked Gun movies and shit like that. So I had an idea of what parody films were. And one of my favorite shows on TV at that time as well was In Living Color. And if you don't know anything about In Living Color, it is basically everybody in this movie, that most of the people in this movie that's their TV show. It's a skit, a comedy sketch show in the same vein of like Saturday Night Live, but I think they did it way better. than Saturday Night Live ever could have. But they had Jim Carrey, Keenan Ivory Wayans, Marlon Wayans, Sean Wayans, David Allen Greer, Tommy Davidson. There's a couple others that I can't recall right now, but they all got their start on that show. Oh, Jamie Foxx, there's another one. So they all got their start on the show, and then when this movie came out, I'm seeing a lot of people I like, you know. So I'm like, okay, and it's brought to you by the same guy as, you know, the Living Color stuff. So I was like, I'm down, let's go sit. And I enjoyed it immensely that time. And on the rewatch, though, I don't know if it's my age has got caught up with me or what. Don't get me wrong. I had this nostalgia feeling in my brain where I was like, huh, yeah, I see why that was funny growing up. You know, it's, you know, some of the stuff is a lot dated now, but you know, I just found it a little bit. It's just, I actually stopped the movie about an hour into it, didn't finish it.
Let's talk about it, bro. You're the reason I even knew what this movie was. I think it was recorded on a VHS tape after one of the wrestling pay-per-views. And I'm like, what is this? And I grew up watching I Know What You Did Last Summer, Scream, pretty much every movie they make fun of in this movie. I'm like, I saw the original. I love those movies, especially at like age 9 and 10. But when this movie came out when I was like 10. So I probably saw it around 12 or 13 after one of the wrestling pay-per-views you put on VHS for me. And I was like, hey, what's this? And I just remember you telling me, dude, watch it. It's funny. And yeah, I mean, I probably was not a fan of it then because I just loved all those original horror movies. So I was like, man, these are kind of making fun of those movies that I like a lot. So I was always the opposite. I had seen the movies that come out, and then I had heard about the parody movies, and I'm like, not a big fan of parody movies. And I grew up in an age where the parody movies were one after another.
Oh God, were they?
Yeah. And I'll go through some of them here, but you have Scary Movie, Scary Movie 2, Scary Movie 3.
Scary Movie series dies around Scary Movie 3. 2 was fucking excellent.
So
you also had Don't Be a Menace to South Central, Drink on Your Juice in the Hood, another Keenan Ivory Wayans and Wayans Brothers movie. Have you ever seen that one?
I have not.
It's about the hood. They take all these different hood movies like Boys in the Hood, Dead Presidents, and a few others, and they make it into a fucking comedy.
So like some of the other ones that came out like literally right after another, Meet the Blacks, epic movie, Vampires Suck.
One they're like a superhero one or something like that.
Superhero movie, Meet the Spartans. So those just kind of ruined parody movies for me. But if I could, that's the first memory I have of it. And then revisiting it today for the podcast, I probably laughed once or twice. And then I was just like, this movie definitely doesn't age well. And to me, it's just kind of a dull comedy, if you will. But we can get into it. You know, I'm sure we won't crack down on this thing the entire show.
There was a moment earlier on in the movie that where they made a fucking P Diddy joke, and I was like, holy shit, that's still relevant.
Yeah, I wrote that down about
going to one of P Diddy's parties or some shit.
Yeah, and that she.
This is a movie in 2000.
She drunk too much. I like her name in this movie too, Shannon Elizabeth. Her name is Buffy Gilmore. So in the movie, she plays the spoof of Sarah Michelle Gellar in I Know What You Did Last Summer, and then she plays also like Tatum. Yeah. So I like how her name was Buffy, especially with Sarah Michelle Gellar. But man, Shannon Elizabeth was on fire at this time with these movies. She was like breakout internet sensation of the year. She was MTV Young Star of the Year. She was in the
that tends to happen whenever you show your boobs in American Pie.
She was in the American Pie movies. And she started getting some kind of serious roles, but I don't think her peak was ever, like you said, American Pie.
Hey,
I
what's
think
your
you have
nickname, Boo Boo? What's your nickname, Boo Boo Kitty Fuck? It's hard to go up from there. You probably don't even know where that's from, do you?
Jay and Silent Bob.
Oh, all right. I just had to test it. Come on, yeah.
Anna Faris, man, this is where she gets her start. She is actually kind of crossed over now to where she does a little bit of everything. She'll do comedies, she'll do serious movies, but it took her damn near 20 years to get going.
Well, doesn't she do that show called Mother or something like that, where they're alcoholics and shit like that? They're all recovering alcoholics. They set kind of in a comedy type of way, but it's pretty much a dramedy comedy type situation where they just try to make light of alcoholism and shit like that. It's got her and Jamie Priestley.
The TV show, yeah, Mom on CBS.
Okay, Mom. Yeah, I didn't know what it was, Mom or Mother. Yeah, I've never seen it, but I've heard it was really good. But
and poor Anna Faris did nothing but parody movies for the longest time. She's used now in a lot of like voiceover acting and stuff, but man, she's still getting it though. She was probably my least favorite in the scary movie franchise. I don't know. I just felt her character just kind of like, unless that's just her playing her to a T. I thought she was just a really boring character.
Well, she's the straight man. If you sit there and realize, like, I've always noticed in this, at least in the movies that I've seen her in, that her facial expressions, like I said, she's the straight man in the story. Like she has her little jokes, but everything is like they joke with her, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's her facial expressions always got me. They always did. You're right. She is a pretty worthless character, but her being the straight person, straight person could sometimes just get lost in the shuffle, especially when you got like not Smokey, but Shawty. You got Shannon Elizabeth's character, Buffy. You got all these other more interesting characters around her. That one of my least favorite was Brenda, though.
Bro,
I don't know why. I think it also has probably to do something that she has a few funny little jokes, like when they're pulling her pants off, underwear off in their big old granny panties and shit. She's like, "What? It's laundry day. What?" She's in a couple. I don't mind her in the scene where she has to dress up as the fucking football player, and homeboy's getting all turned on by it. I liked her in that scene, but.
Oh yeah, I mean, honestly, to me too, Brenda's probably my favorite character too.
I'm saying she's one of my second least favorite, but
second least favorite.
Yeah, one of my favorite though. My favorite Shorty. I'm sorry, Shorty's I'm a big pothead. Yeah, he cracks me up.
And I mean, I think we all agree. Even anybody watching or listening, if you're watching on Facebook Live or Ema Sawant Productions YouTube channel. Comment, give us a message. I think if it wasn't for Marlon and Shawn Wayans in this movie, probably the biggest pass of all time. I don't think these movies even, are successful without any of the Wayans behind them.
That's very true, because they didn't have nothing to do with 3, and that's when they brought Charlie Sheen in and shit like that. People liked it. Yeah, people liked it well enough, but the comedy just wasn't there. And then they started doing the 4th and 5th and 6th, and then we had the barrage of the fucking parody movies come out that you talked about earlier, and nobody gave a shit. And the ones done by the Keenan Ivory Wayans and the Wayans brothers and everything, that's why to me, they might be a little dated now somewhat, but they're still miles and miles and miles ahead of anything else that came out before them and after.
Yeah,
because you got this Scary Movie 1 and 2 with them, and then, like I said, you have that Don't Be a Menace to South Central. We're drinking your juice in the hood.
But let's talk about it. Whether it's some of the jokes that just don't age well now, where did you have a lot of the issues rewatching it for the podcast?
Well, I had a problem with it right at the beginning of it, because it's Carmen Electra. Like, she posed nude for Playboy, fucked Dennis Rodman, and that was her claim to fame. It was like, that was a pretty dated reference right there. We're starting off, but it was she did pretty good acting though. I'll give her that. It was not too bad of acting, and having her, her inflatable boob come out, that was funny. Having her every which way to go, should I go right or left to death or live? And she always chose the fucking latter, and just always went towards the bad situation. She's the first kill girl, but
yeah. What was the was the parody movies that they made fun of? Because like they made fun of Scream. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Scream 2. And then this movie kind of just based around the original Scream movie.
Yeah, that's the plot. That's the plot. Yeah.
Did any of that bother you? I know they even did Shorty doing the, I see dead people.
Oh, that shit was hilarious because he was so high. No, that shit was fucking hilarious.
Is it this one or the second one where the big giant joint smokes him?
It's a plant, but it's part 2.
It's part 2, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big ass weed plant. He rolls him up into a joint, and they're like, "We gotta put him out." I was like, "No, son, no, get high." I'm like, oh yeah. Don't get me wrong. There are parts of this movie that are funny still to me. And like I said, I don't know if there's some nostalgia about them, but then there's some parts where I'm just like, And the opening scene's kind of like that. It's one of those, to me, scenes.
Yeah. There's still some small spoofs of like when they do the reenactment of running the killer over from I Know What You Did Last Summer, and they're trying to stuff him in the trunk.
Yeah, that was. I did find that kind of funny, where it's like, "Hey guys, I'm all right. Hey, no problem. It's okay," and they're just fucking, yeah.
Or where he's like, is it not Bobby, but the other guy is telling Cindy that she needs to take this to her grave, and he starts choking her, and she's like, she can't talk, bro. She can't talk.
Yeah, I was watching the guy that plays Bobby's reaction to this, and he's all sitting there like trying to pat him on the back. He's like, come on, dude, come on, no, come on, please stop. So it was. I like the dick through the ear part.
That's a Scream 2 reference, because remember in the original opening, the knife gets him.
See, even in Scream 2, I have a problem with that fucking death. I have a huge problem with that. You know what? Here's my problems with that death. That with Scary Movie, they solved the fucking problem. There's a glory hole. Boop, dick in the ear, it works. But with fucking Scream 2, though, have you sit there and looked at how thick those fucking partitions are in the bathroom, and how hard you'd have to like really force a fucking knife to get through it? And once you do, it's not going to go in straight, and there's going to be like a little fucking tip. It's not going to be the whole thing. It's like, nope, suspension of disbelief gone.
Yeah, no, for sure. You look at it and you're like, I could see if it was maybe somebody a little bit bigger, but it's like at the end of Scream 2, you reveal that it's Mickey and the mom. The mom didn't do it.
So yeah, because she was in the one in the car recording everything.
Yeah.
Well, we just got sidetracked with a different and better movie.
Let's talk about Scream 2 now. No.
You tuned in for Scary Movie. Now we're going to talk about the Ned Kimball classic Scream 2.
We covered all the Screams, so go back and listen in the archives and hear us talk about all the Scream movies. And I get it.
The Miss Man scene. Come on now, tell me that would not be cool at all today.
What do you mean? Which one?
The Miss Man, the gym teacher.
Oh my gosh. When I saw that, I had to take a double look. I remember seeing it, but just now I was watching it, and I'm like, what?
The balls just fucking tapping Cindy on her arm. Dude, that was cracking me the fuck. I like that scene. That to me, that's still humorous today. I don't know why. Just it could have been a dude, or it could have been any, if a pair of balls fall out, they're like slapping somebody's arm, and the person whose balls are hanging out is like completely unaware that balls are out. That's hilarious to me.
Probably the guy who got more famous than anybody other than Anna Faris, Dave Sheridan, who plays Doofy.
Oh God, we haven't even. Oh wow, no, that's my fucking boy. That's my favorite character.
So like we said, we're just now touching on Doofy, who is a parody of Dewey, played by David Arquette, which I don't care. Wes Craven, when you come out, God rest his soul, but when you come out with a character and you call him Deputy Dewey, you're just giving parody movies like an easy road to just make fun of that character.
That was they kind of. Here's what we need to remember was that whenever it was first pitched, Scream was pitched as a comedy, and some still say it kind of is a horror comedy, and I've never seen that myself, but some people see Scream as a horror comedy because of all the different things that it references and shit like that. The homages to everything.
Yeah. Like we said, later on in the scary movie franchise, they would pick more than just scary movies to make fun of, and I think that's where they kind of went. Just I agree. 1 and 2 they're okay here and there, but like after that, they just completely go out of wank. But
no, there is one joke in the third one that cracks me up whenever one of the aliens has his finger in his mouth, and it's later revealed that that's his penis. That one cracked me up. So see, I'm just a weird guy like that.
They were spoofing off of signs, I think.
But let's talk some more about Doofy.
Yeah.
Doofy's basically, he's one of the main dogs once you figure out the ending and shit like that. It's convoluted as fuck, but and they were playing off the usual suspects.
Which I mean, I like it because if you're making a parody movie of a whodunit horror movie, you have to kind of change it up, or I think the ending is just going to be like, oh, this is what happens in Scream, so we know this is what's going to happen here.
I do like what are some of your favorite Doofy scenes? I to this day still quote Gel Swallows. I will legit just sit there look at like somebody that I know would probably get it, but like Gel Swallows, and there we go. We're both laughing.
That scene was pretty funny. I think the scene that's real funny is when he throws the bag of ice and it knocks Cindy out. And he's like, let me
I'll get you one for your head. I still love the vacuum part, or any time with the vacuum where he's like, and he comes over like, how many times I gotta tell you? So leave me alone. I'm cleaning my room. Did you see the end credit scene?
I did not.
There is an end credit scene with Doofy. And for those of you that have not seen the end credit scene, I'm going to spoil the fuck out of it right now because, it's been 24 years. Get on the ball.
24 years is insane.
But it's Doofy sitting in his room in the middle of his bed talking to his vacuum cleaner. And he takes the nozzle and brings it closer to his penis. And he's like, no, and pushes it away. He does this like 3 or 4 times. He's like, no. And so finally, I'm like, 4th or 5th try, he just like, okay, and he takes it, sticks it down his pants, and he starts fucking the vacuum cleaner. And I lost everybody. You there?
Yeah, are you there?
I'm here. Did my story get cut off?
No. So
God, no, we heard it all. Just shut the fuck up, stop talking.
No, there's some technical difficulties going on. But just in case, Jay, if that ever happens, if I go in and out or if you lose me, the show still is going on. So you can sit there and kind of just hang out and talk until I get back on.
All right, same here.
But let's talk about the ending. They kind of throw you for a loop. The two who you think is going to be, which is, man, I keep forgetting Sean Wayans' name in this movie. Ray.
Fuck me.
now that's easy to remember. But Ray and Bobby, those are the two who they want you to think is the killer. But I was kind of confused because they both came out and said they're torturing Cindy at the end, but they ended up not being the killers.
Dude, that's why I said that. It was a little convoluted for me, so I was like, who cares?
And then come to
see,
find
that's
out,
what I'm saying. Doofy, yeah. It was like, okay.
And
whatever.
Now come to find out it's Doofy, but he's just that whole scenario where he's like, that Goofy is just a spoof. He's just playing with people. He's really this brilliant serial killer.
The Kaiser Soze to everybody.
Yeah, but I agree, man. I didn't want to just come on and completely complain the entire time about the movie, but I did have a hard time just like laughing, keeping up, and I'm like, oh, this didn't go very well with me.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it had to have been nostalgia at play where sometimes I'd laugh, but sometimes I just sit there and look at the scene and go, okay, I've seen why I laughed when this came out, but it's not funny nowadays. I don't know why. But here, hey, you can't trust a guy that has fucking dick humor as a gauge for a good person. Oh, son of a bitch! Technical difficulties. I can't talk. Fuck me. But never mind. I'll stop talking.
So overall, I mean, we talked about some of our favorite Doofy scenes. You're a huge Shorty fan, so let's go ahead and get into a favorite scene. Go ahead and name one or two.
For sure. I know that I talked about the movie being old and outdated in some ways and shit like that, but it's the whole "what's up" scene. That dude, that to me, that still cracks me up because I remember the commercials and everything like that. But then it's just they're getting fucked up and they're just what's up at each other. That was just funny. And then after he gets through, they all get through doing that. He's like, "So what are you doing?" Nothing, just chilling, killing. I'm like, "Yeah, that's fucking hilarious." And because Homeboy's mask changes every time they do a camera change, whenever they do that, what's up? Like the first mask is like his regular mask. He says, "What's up?" And it's like the next one, like the eyes are closed a little bit more, and then the third mask, when they cut back for the third time, Ghostface's mask is all like squinty eyed, and he has his tongue sticking out, and he's all cheesing and shit. That was one of my favorites. And then
down there in the left corner, he's just always
yeah, that one right there, yes. And then I like the part whenever they all meet up and hang out in the basement, and get high, and Ghostface. Well, I'm gonna call him Ghostface, whatever. But gets up and fucking starts rapping, and
he ends up killing everybody just from
rapping. Yo, that shit was
Y'all mean.
Oh, dude, that's part two.
Damn
yeah, I don't. No, that's part two where she's like, son, son.
Well, it shows you which one I like more.
Right. Well, the second one they parody what is like the House on Haunted Hill, The Haunting, like 13 Ghosts, some of The Exorcist.
Some of The Exorcists. And she even talks
about that.
She even talks about The Exorcist in this movie. Because she, at the beginning, when Bobby first comes in her window, he's like, you remember that one time? And she's like, I told you something about being like tortured or using something. And yeah, but she mentions The Exorcist in the movie, which is okay. Because I mean, Billy Loomis mentioned The Exorcist, so.
Because he was watching it at home on TV and it was a censored version, so it made him a little mad.
It did. Made him a little irritated.
Censorship is not the fucking way, folks.
If I had to mention a favorite scene, then it would probably be, I like the scene where his different emotions come out on the mask and he's on the phone, like you said, that same exact scene. And anything else positive, man, I don't think I'm gonna mention anything else. I think maybe the football,
the little dick scene, the little dick scene,
which is another I Know What You Did Last Summer spoof with the pictures and stuff. So,
some rumor said that was Harvey Weinstein's penis. I'm dead serious. That's legit his. Because he did something to piss off one of the Wayans brothers, and they like, fuck that. We have this picture, so they used it. I don't know.
That is a Miramax film. And then I like the scene where Ray's like, oh, put the pads on, put the helmet on. I know he gets a lot of like overshadowed from his brother, but Shawn Wayans, to me, man, I feel like he's the more well-rounded Wayans brother, at least between the two. I know I'm probably gonna get flack for that. Marlon Wayans is hilarious. He's got the voice, he's got the facial features, but Shawn Wayans can be pretty funny too. And
I'll agree with you to an extent, but you haven't seen Don't Be a Menace yet. You can't say that.
You know what's funny about that is I used to have that movie. I put it in, and then I noticed that it was a spoof off of Menace to Society, which I loved. I took it out and never watched it again. And then I think I got rid of it.
But give it a chance. I'm seriously, just look at it. They're just taking the best parts of those movies. That's all they're doing. They're showing love, baby. They wouldn't get. It's like a Weird Al song, bro. It's a Weird Al song in movie format. You know, is this considered a fucking an honor if you know what it makes?
There you go. That's a good way of looking at it. I mean, because I do like some Weird Al. So, and man, we just got done talking movie news, but Joker 2 is coming to digital October 29th.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
You said that's 21 days, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, that's like 21 days from the opening.
Yeah.
To digital.
And then the Blu-ray hits in December.
Holy fuck, that's quick.
So I know what I want for Christmas.
A better movie.
I still go. I like it. I went all La La Land on myself, man. I listened to the soundtrack after the movie. I thought some of the songs were cool, were legit. But yeah, let's do a star rating for Scary Movie before this becomes a Joker Part 2.2.5 episode. Star rating, man. For Scary Movie, I'll go first, just because I don't want to seem like I'm too harsh on this movie, but I think I'm going to go ahead and just give it a flat 2. Like it's not it's probably the best parody movie out there, yes, at least for me, but it just didn't make me laugh today. To me, a lot of the star ratings is like, how good is the recent watch? You know, is the rewatchability as good as it was?
Okay, here's another question.
And is this something that you can watch and enjoy every time?
Here's a question we didn't bring up, but I am now. Does it have, since it is a comedy, could there be a possibility that since there's no other person in the room with you, that takes down some of the humor for it?
What do you mean? Like I didn't want to laugh at a certain joke because somebody?
No, there's like just being having more than one person in the room, and you have somebody laugh at it because they legitimately thought it was funny, and then just it's like a, I don't know.
Oh no! I watched it with somebody who enjoys it and who laughs and who laughed at a lot of it, and it's just kind of like, I know I may not be like this sometimes, but I'm like, why are you laughing? It wasn't that funny. But I'm not that kind of person to say it out loud because I don't want to ruin somebody else's humor. But yeah, does that answer the question? Kind of.
Yeah, it does. I'm just because when this movie was released, most comedies are made to be played with a bunch of people interacting with it, and so maybe just not having any more people around, just looking at it, reviewing it, or we're missing some of the humor.
That's also, I get that too. That's that's why we go to the movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good bring up too, and a good question. I would have liked for all of us to be on here for this episode because that's a very, very good question. But I'm going to use that question Thursday with Terrifier, because in a theater surrounding Terrifier 3 was a pretty fun film. At home watching All Hallows Eve and the first Terrifier, I'm just kind of like, I don't get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're missing that audience. Okay, the biggest audience participation movie out there is Rocky Horror Picture Show. I've been to one of those presentations where they've showed the movie and they had actors on the stage do the movie while they're, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're acting right alongside the movie, and then you sing the songs. You use props like when it's raining outside in the movie. You everybody squirt guns, and you put fucking newspapers over your head. But if you're doing that, there's watching it at home. There's none of that extra, unless you want to squirt yourself in the face with the water gun and shit like that. You want to participate the way you would with an audience, and that's what I'm wondering. Is there some certain things that we miss out on if we don't watch with an audience?
That's true. That might be that's a good question. We might need that every episode. But I'm going to give this movie a 2. I laughed once or twice. I'm probably not going to want to rewatch it anytime soon. What about you? What do you give this movie?
I'll probably go a 2.5, just because I had more fonder memories of it. Growing up, it was part of my younger days. It to me it is a very good parody picture. There's some certain things that don't work today that didn't even work then, really, because those like I said at the beginning, the Carmen Electra joke to me just falls flat now. Like nobody fucking cares and knows who Carmen Electra is. We're going into it. All they know is, oh, she's a fairly good-looking girl, and she's naked by the end of the scene. But she's not. But
what's interesting. What's interesting, and the ties of generational watches are so fair and far between nowadays. I would like to see what people think of this movie that are like in high school now, middle school now, college now. Like, do they laugh at this, or is this just an overrated 90s squash movie? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, I've seen articles about how this newest generation has huge problems with American Pie because of the content. I'm like, holy shit. Like, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I see where there's something, some things can be kind of like, oh, that's kind of iffy, man. That's kind of a criminal offense right there. Filming Nadia while she's, that's, and then broadcasting all. Yeah, that's pretty fucked up. But they're having the problem with the scene where he's fucking the pie. I'm like, why can't the homeboy fuck a pie?
Yeah, no, and I think a good comedy can update itself with the times and still be funny. Like me, I thought American Wedding was okay, but I realized that their jokes and them themselves have to update with the times.
I find American Wedding to be one of the better ones, especially the whole Stifler dancing scene, and then the whole scene where they have to do the meeting with the mother and father-in-law, and the dude with the assless chaps and shit. No, that was fun. But we're getting off the topic again.
So you gave it a 2.5. I gave it a 2. Next week, speaking of nostalgia, Idle Hands.
My pick. Yep.
I am so stoked to rewatch this movie. I can't wait, and I think it's going to be a fun conversation, especially about. It's not a spoof. It's not anything like that. It's its own horror comedy movie. And if you ask me, and we'll get into it next week, this lays the ground, I feel like, for movies like Shaun of the Dead.
Maybe so. I don't know.
So Shaun of the Dead came out after this, and I'm just saying, hey, Idle Hands did it before, But yeah, man, anything you want to add to Scary Movie before we move on to the road to Idle Hands?
It wasn't very scary.
Not very scary. Not very funny either.
Yep.
So
we're just old mid now. We don't know what's funny anymore.
We don't, man.
We lost our touch.
Speaking of funny, let's watch that Chevy Chase now. That's the man who knows comedy. No.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I've always seen a couple of his movies. Ever since I've heard he was an asshole in real life, I tend to stick clear of people who are like that. Fuck you.
Total sourpuss of a person, man. I never met the guy, but I've seen videos before. And but I will say it's not Christmas unless I watch Christmas Vacation. So
enabler.
Yeah, I know. I hear the same thing. Honestly, I hear the same thing about Tim Allen, but I love me some.
Dude, it ain't Christmas unless I watch fucking at least the first Santa Claus.
Yeah, man. I and him on Home Improvement, man. When my dad was at work, I'm at home watching Home Improvement. Tim Allen was my dad. I'm like, dude, I watch that show every single day. So again, we're off topic. See what Scary Movie does? It throws you off topic.
Fuck it. That's we're having a parody of a fucking show today. We're gonna come on. We're gonna come on here and we're gonna tell you about Scary Movie. Fuck that. We're subverting expectations. We're just gonna talk about everything but the movie you came to hear about. Because why? Because we're that fucking bored. We're now trying to figure out what we can say or do to make this thing stretch a little bit longer so we have some fucking podcast talk with you guys. We just can't, because we can't sit there and just be like, movies suck. And then we're done because, there's a lot of movies I guarantee we all fucking want to review, like, it sucked, and that's all I'm going to fucking say about it. But we've got to stretch it out. Give you guys what you want.
Stretch
Give
it
you some
out.
discussion.
Man.
Give you some girth.
We should have talked about a Tropic Thunder too.
Oh, that would be definitely fun to see how quick we can get this show canceled.
Other than that, man, I think we had a fun conversation. We had a fun topic. Go check out Scary Movie. I believe it's on like Paramount Plus or something like that.
We're not telling you where to fucking find it. You go find it yourself if you want to watch it. Now, fuck
You know what? I did go find it myself, and now I regret it. But triple pack, not bad.
Fuck that. It's not 2.5 for me. I'm taking it back down to 2. I just got riled up and fucking, oh no, it made me angry. So fuck that shit. It's a 2 now.
It's a 2. We're taking it back.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
See you next week.
Idle hands on another.
And don't you guys have idle hands either? You'll work that shit.
Of the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. Love y'all. See y'all next week.
Fuck y'all.